Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining today's live webinar. We're going to be looking at the results of the 2018 State of API Integration Report and discussing some of the key findings and insights that should help you benchmark your own tech strategies this year and also better understand what your peer companies are doing with APIs, AI, and the cloud. My name is Dan Oxenberg, and I will be your host for today's session. Before we jump right in, I do want to briefly mention a couple administrators, and we are going to make the session available on demand for any of your colleagues that may want to catch up after the fact. So let's jump in. By way of a quick backgrounder on the report, the statistics and findings in the report were a result of a survey of 450 different companies. And the respondents from these companies represented companies of all sizes, different departments, and industries. About half of the companies have between 1 and 500 employees. The other half had 500 or greater. And if you look at the total, about a quarter of the companies surveyed had greater than 5,000 employees. The respondents were skewed more heavily towards IT, though a quarter were in sales and marketing, and about 1 in 5 were in software development or engineering. And we bring this up right up front because it's important to keep these firmographics in mind when you're considering the findings in the report against the size of your own company, your industry, and your department. So the first key finding coming out of this year's survey was that the trend towards cloud continues at pace. This wasn't surprising. All you have to do is look at the growth of the biggest cloud players and the ever-expanding marketplace of cloud systems to see where things have been going. But what was interesting is when you look at the systems that are being deployed in the cloud, you see that the scales have really tipped or are just about to tip, where the majority of systems of engagement and front office applications will be majority cloud-based in 2018. Back office systems still lag behind front office systems, though 1 in 3 ERP systems is running in the cloud this year. And when we asked folks, how many additional cloud systems are you looking to deploy in 2018? 42% of the respondents said they were planning to double the number of systems they run in the cloud. And so then the question is, what are the reasons for this continued investment in the cloud? And this really fell into 6 categories, from reducing costs while increasing speed and accessibility, to a desire to bring together enterprise data in one place with a single view of information. And this included modernizing current technology investments by layering on the benefits of cloud and integrating them to legacy systems. You know, one interesting thing to note is that reducing costs and improving efficiency was far and away the #1 reason for adopting cloud systems. And I want you to keep that in mind when we look at some related data later in the session. So the second key finding from the survey is that organizations are looking to leverage and are currently leveraging APIs to get ahead, both internally and externally. And so the reason we made this conclusion is when we asked companies, are they creating APIs to expose their internal data, we were pleasantly surprised by the results because a full 64% of respondents said that their company currently uses APIs either internally or externally to expose their data. And interestingly, when you think about the demographic makeup of the survey responders, about half were not in technical roles. And yet only 1 in 10 said they did not know if their company was creating APIs. So think about that. If you had asked a line of business folks, even a couple years ago, what an API was, chances are you would have gotten a lot more blank stares. So clearly APIs and the interoperability and the collaboration that they enable is becoming part of the common language of business. All that said, 1 in 4 companies are not currently creating APIs. So there's still quite a bit of adoption and use still to occur. Just as interesting, I think, as the number of companies, the percentage of companies that responded that they are currently creating their own APIs, was the fact that they were able to put tangible benefits on these APIs, with a full 2/3 suggesting that they had increased their return on investment in their technology stack through APIs. And the other benefits here included getting to market faster, attracting new partners, creating new channels of revenue. These are all really ROI-centric benefits. So APIs clearly in use and going to be more so in 2018. We then asked folks, beyond APIs, what are you looking to do with this big hunking thing out there called artificial intelligence? And so the survey really delved into the company's current and planned use of AI in 2018. And again, for all the hype around AI, what's really interesting is that the results showed that infusing intelligence into business processes is top of mind for all these companies in 2018. In fact, 4 out of 5 companies said they are currently using or plan to infuse AI into their processes this year. So that really means that AI is not just coming to take our jobs, it's actually already here and doing some of them. So the question really is then, what types of intelligence are these companies leveraging this year? And when we asked them that, predictive analytics was by far the most common form of AI. Although 50% of respondents also said that they're looking at chatbots, virtual assistants, and sentiment analysis as well. So if you take a step back from this data and consider what it means, what we're really seeing is that a vast majority are looking to AI to better organize and present data that can then be used to make better decisions. So if you consider predictive lead scoring or account-based scoring as an example, that's helping marketers and sellers better understand their best bets and the potential business to really double down on. At the same time, though, half of the respondents are also talking about leveraging the benefits of AI to do more than just present data. They're looking for it to actually have conversations with prospects, to schedule time on calendars, to make decisions about where and when to route or escalate support matters based off of what it perceives as the sentiment of the conversation. So this is all some pretty cool, serious process intelligence. It's also a ton of data. And so if you think about some of the other numbers we talked about, the 64% of companies that are creating APIs, the 42% that are looking to double down on their number of cloud deployments in 2018, the big question is, how does all this come together? And to hear Accenture say it, ultimately, this all has to interconnect and has to be able to work together effectively. And so this really leads us into the final finding from the 2018 report. And that's that the burden of tying all this technology together is falling on IT and developers. When we asked who is responsible for integrating all of these systems, 63% of respondents said, well, it's IT or it's developers who are on the hook. And when we asked, well, who's creating and managing all those APIs that you're using? They said 90% of the time, developers are coding and managing those APIs. And then finally, when we asked, well, how are these teams currently getting all this work done? 67% lacked a cloud-based integration solution. And frankly, a mind-boggling 41% said they hand code or use manual data entry as their integration strategy. So if you go back and you consider some of the early slides I talked through, where the benefits sought from all this technology were things like efficiency, speed, agility, that doesn't quite jive with people hand coding or doing manual data entry. And so when you think about, there's such a burden on IT and developers who already have full plates. Using manual methods and legacy on-prem tools to get the job done, companies are really putting at risk the desired ROI, the speed and the agility that they're looking for from their investments. And so as we come to the conclusion here, I mean, that really summarizes the big four takeaways from the 2018 State of API Integration Report, which, by the way, everyone will be receiving a complimentary copy of if you registered and joined the webinar today, so you get it following today's broadcast. But I wanted to leave you with 3 keys to success for your cloud, your API, and your AI technology this year. The first really here is start with your integration strategy in mind. Really consider what technology you need, how it will be used, and what the key processes are that it's going to enable, especially those that are cross-functional between departments and between teams. You've got to understand before you go and acquire a bunch of new cloud apps, try to leverage AI, build APIs, what is the ultimate thing you're trying to accomplish as a business? The second key here really is pull together an integration team. Don't just push it over to developers and IT to figure out. Build an integration team, even if it's just a team of 2. It should include both IT and the line of business, because it's really important that you get aligned on what your business needs are and then how the integration strategy itself will support it. And then the final key here is don't do it on your own. It's 2018. Don't code APIs, don't code integration, and definitely do not grab a swivel chair, throw one of your colleagues into it, and then ask them to manually input information between systems. There's a lot of cool technology out there today, right? So leverage a cloud-based integration platform that lives where most of your technology and most of your data now lives. And then once you've done that, really focus on iteration and reusability so that you can achieve that agility and that speed that you need to grow this year. So guys, I know that was a quick flyby, about 15 minutes recap of the survey. Again, I think you're going to get a lot more in-depth analysis and reading from the report itself, so please do take a look at that if you haven't already. If you have questions about anything in the report, anything you want to discuss around your API integration strategies this year, please feel free to reach out to Jitterbit. We have a team of experts who do this day in and day out, and they can answer questions from what's the right technology, recommendations on what your tech stack should look like, what most common processes to integrate are, where do you start, where do you go next. This is all stuff our team can help with. So with that, I want to thank you for spending about 15 minutes of your morning, your afternoon, or your evening with me as we go through the findings of the report. I'm hoping that there's been some interesting takeaways here for you, and there's some stuff that you guys can leverage in your plans for 2018. And with that, we'll give you the rest of your day back. So I want to thank you again for your time. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at info@jitterbit.com, on Twitter @jitterbit, or give us a call. The phone number is right on the website, jitterbit.com. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.